All right, welcome to the Monday Night Men's Forum. I am Matt of FarmHopLife, and tonight we have Christopher with Secure Coop, Long Story Farms, and Scott from Thriving the Future podcast. How's it going, guys?
Hey,
Good.
Doing great.
Good. Thanks for being
yeah.
here.
You got a new
So-
studio
Thanks for
there,
having us.
Matt?
I got kicked out of my office. I'm doing some remodeling of my own.
That's a cool.
Don't
background.
ask me. Don't. Yeah, these are barn doors that I made. So.
Oh man,
Great. That's your closet?
Yep, that's just my closet. So.
it's cool looking.
Thanks. Where were we? Oh yeah, personal events. Christopher, go ahead.
So in anticipation of tonight's theme,
Oh yeah, can you
Okay.
tell us what that is? Because I did not explain what we're talking about tonight.
Sorry,
Tonight's-
I distracted you on the barn doors.
tonight's theme is energy in when it hits the fan.
Yes.
So how do you deal with energy need for energy, and so I've got these solar panels, 6 kilowatts of solar panels, but I haven't done anything with them. Just been dragging my butt and dealing with other issues. And I finally said, I got this thing coming up. So I plugged them all up and plugged them into the inverter, and they lit them up one string at a time. And I was happy with that. And then tonight I am building a lithium battery from scratch. It's a bunch of cells. Yeah. It's like a really inexpensive way to go, and but you have to do a little bit of DIY work. It's nothing hard at all. You like threaded rods and some screws and attach the BMS, and it's pretty much done. So it's a real good value, and if something breaks, you can fix it yourself.
So because of this podcast, you got work done. So I'm getting a free Secure Coop when?
Let me get out of beta. Yeah, I was doing some beta testing on it this week.
That's awesome.
Covered some bugs, but we're getting there.
Awesome.
The
Nice.
phone app is incredibly hard, and I've even hired somebody, and it's like, are we ever going to finish this thing? But yeah, we're making it little by
Good.
little, chipping away at it.
Good. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Long story.
Really, I don't have anything momentous going on. We've been we did pretty well at the farmers market last weekend. We just picked up an order of chicken sausage. I took 80 chickens to the processor, and we got back 182 pounds of ground chicken. And
Sounds tasty.
anyway, yeah, we just had some tonight. It's pretty good. But yeah, just day job's been really demanding lately, and just trying to find time to get everything else done.
Yeah.
And
I
I
hear
have
that.
I've got 3 different solar arrays on the farm, so we can talk about that a little bit more. But this I thought this was a cool topic, and I've been meaning to jump on the last 2 weeks, but I was out working in the farm or doing my day job or something, so I wasn't able to make it. But I'm excited.
Real
about tonight.
work. Not talking about work.
Well, yeah, it tends to be like right now with the day job, I'm pretty busy until pretty late, and then if I get off in time, I'm either got to get in bed. I had a 6 a.m. call last Tuesday, so I didn't want to stay up late talking to you guys. But
Can't blame you
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
already late for you. So
yeah,
nice. Cool. I liked your
Yep.
video with the pigs eating black walnuts. That was kind of funny.
dude, that blew my mind. I could not believe the sound. It's like such a natural sound, but it still like scares the crap out of me. They're so strong, man.
Crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You ever see that movie Snatch?
Yes.
Or was it Train Spotting with the pigs?
They go through bone like butter or whatever. Yeah.
That's what I thought of when he's talking about that.
Yeah. Same. Scott,
Well-
go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Long story.
I just throwing in something about the pigs. We had 4 about a year ago, and one of them, I don't know if he died or got killed, but there wasn't much left when we realized he was gone. And when we realized he was gone, he was gone.
Dang.
They destroyed. I mean, we just
Wow.
there was like a shoulder
Damn.
blade and the skull. That was it.
Dang.
Oh my gosh. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Scott, you got any cannibals on your place?
No, but yeah, I've been planting elderberry cuttings, cut off a piece of elderberry branch and stick the stick in the ground, and it takes off where you put it. It's pretty amazing. So, and then I've been planting apples from seed that I got from the Skill Cult guy. So he hand pollinates 2 different trees, and then he takes that apple and then saves the seed, and you don't have to graft or anything. So it's kind of interesting. I need to talk to him a little bit more about it.
So
Your apple guy?
he does it from seed?
Yeah. So basically what he does is he hand pollinates between 2 trees that he wants to get across, right? And then he puts a bag around the branch so that nothing else can get in there and fertilize it. And then if he likes the taste of the apple, because it'll be like a cross between, he's got this thing called apple Lusa and cherry crush or something. And then if he likes the taste of it, then you'll save the seed and then sell the seeds. So I ended up getting a bunch of seed from him, and I'll plant them out and see what happens.
I thought apple was that weird plant that, like, if you cast seeds from that apple, like, you get there's like 5 seeds in an apple, so you get 5 different varieties.
Yeah,
so,
if it's open pollinated, then you would get that. So, you get whatever that cluster of flowers, but he'll hand pollinate it, and then he bags it off, so no more insects can get in there, right? And then he gets the apple that he likes, discards the ones that he doesn't like, right? And then he'll say, "Oh, this tastes like cherry crush or something." One of the ones he has is called cherry crush, and then he'll save the seed from that, and so it's totally different. Then you don't have to wait your 5 years or whatever to find out what you got. I mean, you do when you plant the thing, but it's a little bit different than grafting or whatever. So that's one of the things I'm trying this year.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool. And that's a badass name. Cherry Crush Apples.
Yeah. I like Apple Lusa, like a horse name, except it's Apple Usa.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he's got one called Pink Parfait as well. So yeah.
Pink Parfait. Good.
Yeah. It's cool.
This weekend, I finished building the closet in my son's room, which I didn't know my wife didn't want done right this second. She goes, it'd be nice if his closet was like this. And I didn't know that wasn't terribly important this second. And so I worked on it all weekend, and it wasn't until yesterday I figured out I didn't need to get that done just now. I was
it's out of the way though. It's out
of the way. I could have done 100 other things, but it's done. It looks good. So, and then I paid off one of my credit cards today. So that felt good.
That's a good feeling.
That is a good feeling. So got a long ways to go, but we're getting there. So
yeah, I hear you. We got like a year and a half on one of our loans. But when that one's done, I'm gonna pick up some lithium batteries for the solar array. I've decided. So
as a treat to yourself.
Yeah, I'll go back into debt. Because it'll pay for itself. I mean, lithium batteries used to be the old lead batteries never paid for themselves with solar, but lithium, they do have they have a long 15, 20 year lifespan. So,
what could pay for more lithium batteries and your debt? Selling secure coops.
Yes, sir. I know. I could
You'll get there.
Somebody to finish the solar array, and then I could be, working on it full time.
There you go.
Oh, just going into more debt.
So, speaking of energy, collapse now, avoid the rush. Scott, you sent me some interesting questions this morning about this topic. I'm not prepared. Here we go. What problem are we trying to solve?
That is a good question.
That is a good question. Loss of power equals generator or solar. Do you want to explain this, or do you want me to rattle the? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, collapse now and avoid the rush is do we make the jump now so that we avoid the trouble in the future, right? And you could take it from a prepping standpoint, or you could take it from I'm going to reduce my footprint now or whatever, right? So to be able to address the energy, it's what problem are we trying to solve? If you're trying to solve a loss of power, I want to be able to be sustainable in case I lose power. Then you solve that by a generator or a battery bank. If you want to lower your energy bill, then you'd have solar with a grid tie. And then if you want self-sufficiency in prepping, you'd probably have a solar with battery bank. You'd either be off grid or a hybrid setup.
Sure.
That was my brainstorming this morning. So
no, I like it. Let's long story. Why don't you go through your system and we'll just jump in with questions or comments.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, I did all this myself, and so I have made all the mistakes you're able to make. But we did a little. We have it's only 3 kilowatt array. We've got a Schneider Electric 5548 connects inverter with a MPPT 150, 60, 150, whatever. It's 150, 60. The numbers that go with it. It's also Schneider Electric. And we started off with only 2 kilowatts, and we were doing, we had 2 in series, 4 in parallel. Is that right? Might have said it backwards. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired, guys.
That's all right.
But so anyway, we had 2 in series, 4 in parallel. And the nominal voltage is 60 volts, and the voltage of the system is 48 volts. Well, the guy that we bought, when I bought it, the guy I was talking to, the sales guy or whatever, he was like, yeah, that should work. That was completely wrong. You need a much bigger voltage differential. So we added another set of panels, and we are doing now 3 in series, 4 in parallel. So now we're up to like 90 volts. So it's like almost double on the panel side versus the batteries. And basically, the way that I was taught to think about it was voltage is like pressure. So you want more pressure from the PV side, so that it pushes into the battery, so to speak, right? So that was the first big challenge, because the batteries were just crapping out, low voltage warnings all the time. I couldn't figure out what's going on. And then, burned up a set of lead acid batteries, like $1,000 set of golf cart batteries that we were using. So we got that fixed, and I kept adding loads to it because I'm an idiot. And we were just discharging it too deep. And what was really happening is I was brooding the chickens with the plate heaters, and I would run those at night. And, there's no sun, of course, at night. In case you guys didn't know. But anyway, there's no sun at night, so it's just pulling off the batteries. And so I was discharging those lead acid batteries way too deep.
Sure.
I did not understand that either. So, they basically need to be about 50%. And if you don't have it 50% or higher from a total charge capacity or whatever, you're damaging the batteries.
Yeah. So
at that point, I was like, okay, this is the second, set of, basically in 3 years, I burned up $2,000 worth of batteries.
Oh.
So I said, if I keep at this rate, it's probably like Chris was saying, it's better to go with lithium-ion batteries. So
yeah,
I went and got 2 of those, and that worked great. And then the charge controller just quit, which is unusual. It's just very unusual. So I go up there, and the battery's on 0, and nothing's working and all that, and got that replaced. Took a little while to get it here, but got it replaced, and system's been working great since then. And then I was like, well, I need another freezer, because I've got 7 freezers full of meat, or I had 6 at that time full of meat, and I went to pick up some pigs, and I needed another freezer, so I got a 7th freezer, and I ended up, because of the way I'd set up the AC side, I ended up unbalancing the 2 legs on the inverter. And that'll cause your inverter to go nuts. I mean, it goes nuts, and I don't even know how to explain the behavior, but it was very weird behavior. one battery would be totally discharged, the other one wasn't. It was just weird. Um, so fix that. And what we have, so we have right now, I've got another 4. I'll be bumping up to just over 4 kilowatts. I've got another kilowatt of panels. I also bought 3 more lithium-ion batteries, and I'm going to move the 2 that I have because these are different brands, and I can explain that if you guys want. I'm going to move the 2 that I have had the longest to my house because I don't have any solar at the house right now. This is all for the farm. And I bought 3 from a guy in Florence. It's called Langston's Alternative Power, and I'll give Spencer a shout out. He's a good guy to deal with. So I was going to go with like like not a Renogy, but a brand name, that's in the market I was going to get a 3rd battery of the same brand that I already had. Well, they wanted $4,000 for the battery.
Ooh.
I'm like, whoa! Like,
How many amp hours is that?
Yeah, 100 amp hours, 48 volt. So it's pretty big,
Yeah.
It's not
okay.
It's not really that far off of what you see in the market. But Spencer had them for $1,800.
Well,
Same thing. So I bought 3 from Spencer, and I'm going to move the 2 older ones to my house, and get going with that. And so that's my farm setup. I have another small array, which is 900 watts with just 2 lead acid deep cycle batteries. It's from RPS, Rural Power Systems. They do like solar well pumps. And I bought their system to back up a well, but I haven't put the well pump in yet. So I've got my well guy is delinquent getting over here and helping me drop it in the hole. But I've been using that to run 1 freezer and some lights where we milk the cows. I have another small one, 400 watts, that just with like a Renogy, just like an off the shelf battery charge controller, and little inverter. So I've got like different scale. And I feel pretty competent now in terms of just installing them, setting them up, understanding what the loads they can handle, all that, startup amps for those compressors on all the freezers, what I'm saying? Like there's just all these little nuances that you have to figure out. And I jokingly tell people when I started building this thing, I didn't know what a volt was. But you got to learn how to use a meter. You got to be safe. You got to, double and triple check all your wiring, and you got to torque your lugs down, and there's a lot of little things like that are important because this stuff is powerful, and if you get something screwed up, you can get a lot of heat in there and cause some problems. So it's got to be careful. But anyway, that's my story. I hope that's not too long-winded. Sorry about that.
Do you still have the old dead lead batteries?
One set is in good shape. The other set, I think they froze when we had the real hard freeze around Christmas. They're all broken now.
The reason I was asking is it is possible to recondition old lead batteries. You can use Epsom salt, and there's also a method that uses a welding rig. There's a few different ways to recondition. You're not going to get the same capacity, but it's better than recycling or throwing away.
Yeah, a buddy of mine told me that, so we were gonna work on them whenever I get a chance.
Yeah.
It's one of those projects.
Right. I've got exactly the same project. I picked up some old lead Trojan batteries, and I just or golf cart batteries, and I just got to set them aside. But that's that's something I want to try and do with that, is recondition those guys.
Yeah, I definitely want the second set. I want to try to do that. The first set, like I said, I left them out. They weren't in any way covered when we had that real hard freeze, where it was like 9 degrees for 36 hours and below freezing for like 72 hours, which is very unusual for us. But anyway, those batteries, they're cracked and broken, so I think they're messed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those types of batteries, don't they get off gas? Like if they get too old, like they can let out some toxic fumes and.
In theory, but the hydrogen is very, it likes to go up to outer space. So as soon as it gets out of it's like a mouse fart. It goes up into outer space.
I mean, if you had a hermetically sealed utility closet that you're keeping your batteries in, it might be a problem. But
Yeah, but
other
otherwise,
than that,
a
yeah.
standard. Yeah, people get over concerned about that, but it's never been a real issue.
It was on that show, Homestead Rescue, where someone's like their batteries were like corroding and they couldn't even sleep
Oh.
in their own house, and because
Oh,
like
man.
so, and I thought it was like a bunch of hype, but
Yeah, it sounds like the
never looked into it.
producers. Sounds like the
That's
producers
exactly what
needed
it
a
is.
storyline. That's what it sounds
Yeah,
like to me.
yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Oh.
That's
One
exactly
thing.
what it was.
One thing I should have mentioned about the lithium batteries, they can handle discharge down to about 20% of their capacity, and with the BMS, you can really track that really closely. So they're a lot easier to keep them safe than it is with lead acid. So lead acid really doesn't have a charge percentage that you can really monitor. You have to look at voltage, and if you get below nominal voltage, they're getting too deeply discharged. So.
How does the lithium ion stack up against like what is it, like lithium iron phosphate or something like
Yeah.
that? Like
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So,
what I'm talking about. Go ahead. You know more than I do.
well, I was going to say this is a lithium ion, and it's a little better. I think the weight is better. I don't care about the weight, but I cared about the price on this one. But the phosphate is just kind of, but it's kind of similar. It's a little bit less explosive and very long cycle life. And so you can expect 15, 20 years if you
gotcha.
don't abuse them. Just use, like he said, 80% discharge, and keep them in a in a room temperature kind of a place, or just treat them like you would a pet, and they'll give you 15, 20 years. And the price is good. They're now down to around $300 per kilowatt hour, which is I bought just 2 years ago. I bought a lithium, a medium quality, called a SOC SOK, and it was about $1,200, and now they've come down to like $300, $400. I'm like, yeah, I wish I'd have done. No, the SOC was a little bit was a double, so it was like 600
Gotcha.
to about 300. Yeah, so they've about halved. The difference between the medium build, decent quality $600 to down to the lowest China but still usable is about $300. So, yeah.
Scott, you ever mess around with any solar or any other like alternative energy for the house or even like a shed?
Not solar. We've got the usual solar, electric, fencing, but other than that, yeah, most of mine is I've got a battery bank and I've got a generator. I haven't gone solar yet.
Sure. I've got the generator that doesn't work, and that's about it. So.
Well, yeah, that's the lesson learned, is that
Yeah.
I gotta clean it or something. I don't know. Like I got lazy and didn't run it every month. So
and that's the lesson learned. So I got a new generator the year before last, and you're supposed to start it and then let it run for 10 hours before you put a load on it. I started it, or I didn't start it. It started just shooting gas out of the carburetor.
Oh.
Whoa.
So if I didn't start it and I put it in the garage, then I would have had a rough. I would have
right.
Had a
rough night.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Yeah.
Trying to use it later, and it takes forever to get RMA on them. I mean, absolutely forever.
Sure.
Yeah.
So and I think it took 4 months to get an RMA and send it back.
Something that people don't often think about is that will stand in for a generator. You can run your fridge or cell phone chargers and stuff, internet router, off an inverter from your car. Like 50-watt inverter.
Ran the podcast off an inverter.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, that's cool.
I had so some of you guys may know, but I lived in Chile for a few years, and before when I got back from Chile, I saw this Generac diesel. It's got XD 5000E, so it's 5,000 watts, 6,500 startup capacity, diesel generator, and I saw it. I think it was around $3,300, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have the solar system. I need a backup generator, and I bought it. And a couple of weeks ago, it started throwing low voltage warnings, or not warnings. When I tested it with my meter, which I know how to use now, so it was giving me like 83 volts per leg, and so I just had the entire electrical side replaced. And what I'm looking at is like I've run that thing like 1,000 hours. And if you look at the money I put into it, like up until now, $3,300 for 1,000 hours. That's $3.30 an hour plus fuel, right? I'm just like looking at generators right now. I'm just thinking, man, that is a very inefficient way to get power. Very, very inefficient way to get power.
But it
Yeah.
works. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah, I
something
mean
that
when
you
you
have
need
now
it,
and
you
it
need
works.
it. You know, yeah.
Yeah. And
But
you know how to
I'm
fix
just-
it.
I just want to say, like, you know, it's not great, and I think it goes back to what Scott was saying a minute ago. It's like, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Like,
Yeah.
I was talking to the guy that actually helped me repair the thing. He does the backup generator installation, and he was saying that, oh yeah, man, you like a 22 kilowatt propane generator, man. That's what, that's where you ought to go. And I'm like, I think I could get by with like 11 or 12, maybe 14 max for my house, because we're not trying to be the kind of people that the power goes off and the lights flicker and we're like, huh, well, like we're not trying to like not notice that there's something going wrong, but that's a big question. I see these people that are doing like, like 30 kilowatt solar arrays and stuff, or they're doing these huge backup generators, and I think they're solving the wrong problem. I really do. Like, I like the small. I think small solar is right. I don't think a 30 kilowatt array on the top of my house would make sense in any circumstance.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They
And
want
everybody
air
around
conditioners.
here has they're just snookered into hooking their solar up to the grid. So they're just mining for the electric company. And then the electric company keeps reducing the amount that they'll pay them for the energy they're generating.
Ooh. See, that's the promise of that grid tie. It's supposed to be able to save you a ton of money, and I guess it doesn't.
No, you end up breaking even usually. So there's two different kinds. There's the, what did he call it, net metering, where basically they'll never send you anything. And then there's the other one where, like Brian was talking about, where it's 3 cents. It's 3 cents. They'll buy it for 3 cents, but then they'll sell it to you for 30 cents a kilowatt hour, right?
But a lot of those setups, though, they're putting them in where if the grid goes down, you don't have power because
none of those people have power.
Yeah. And people are going, oh, I'm set now. I got my solar. No.
Yep. Yeah, and then
Explain how that works.
They're doing
How would
it.
that work?
They're doing it so they don't have any battery backup. And they don't have like
the grid acts like a battery.
Oh.
Yeah, so they don't have the Powerwall or the Generac Powerwall or whatever. So it's basically they're mining for the electric company, and when the power goes out, they're out because that power is going out on the grid 100% of the time, right? And it's like, and I'd say probably 90% of the people around here who have solar have that set up.
Yeah.
Except for a handful of people that are off grid.
Yes.
And we did 2 episodes about it last month, and it's like you can't even get a consistent answer from the county guy who's going to be inspecting you. So you have county guy number 1 comes out and he'll tell you, oh yeah, you're good, but he's it's like he's in the pocket of one of the vendors. And then county guy number 2 comes out to do your final inspection. That's all wrong. You got to have this guy. You got to have this company, and and stuff. And the insurance companies are all in on it, and then they won't let you grid tie.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Scott, you mentioned something earlier called hybrid, and that's what we did. We chose hybrid, which is like the best and the worst of both off-grid and grid tie.
Mhm.
So ours is off grid in the middle of the day. While the sun's shining, it's off grid. Then the power, the light, the sun, goes down. The power output is reduced, and the inverter switches over to the grid. So I did
okay.
that because I wanted to save money, which really is harder to. I thought you couldn't do it with off grid. I think it is possible now. But the other reason was I thought to myself, I'd rather have some off grid power than no off grid power at all, like with the grid tie. So it's a hybrid, and on top of that, because we're RV living, I have absolutely nothing to do with permits or involving anyone in the government, and no department of making you sad. Just wire it in and go. And as far as the utility company is concerned, all it looks like is all of a sudden we've started using less watts in the middle of the day. Still have some things on the grid power, but the core loads, I've got a mini split air conditioner that I'll be installing. So that air conditioner is going to be running on the solar in the middle of the day, and after hours it runs like 1,000 watts, so it's very efficient. And so I'll have that going, and I'll have the refrigerator and the freezer going, and just the core stuff, and then we can just make do on the core. And I figured, I calculated it works out about 7-year payoff on that. And once I can get some lithium ion batteries, because right now this is the only, this little thing is the only battery that I'm going to be putting in, and it's tiny. It's like 32 amp hour total, 48 volts.
Right.
And the reason is the hybrid system does need a little bit of battery like a buffer. But after some time, I want to put in some lithium phosphate. Now that's lithium ion, but lithium phosphate, and put in those bigger chunks of those dudes to sort of stretch us out into the evening. And we lose power, and we've got now power for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours instead of just 4 hours. So
it should be easier for you because you're in an RV, and so you don't need an inverter.
Yes and no. We also have solar for the 12-volt system, so that's for the lights, that's for the fans, and the refrigerator can run on 12 volt. But the things like the power outlets, regular power outlets, and the air conditioners especially.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and those are 220 volt, and so I had to get a 220 inverter, actually a European inverter. The price is right, and it's a European, and it's got to wire it a little differently. I forget how to explain it, but like in America, we have for 220 we have 2 different kinds, and you have to kind of flip things around, and so it's a little
based
bit
on the
risky.
amps.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky unless you know what you're doing. So, but it's a European inverter, and I'll be wiring that up, and then I've got a transformer to pull it down to 110 volt for the rest of the loads. But the air conditioner is going to be the 220 volts. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was hoping. Does anyone have anything else to say about solar? Because I was looking to talk about some other methods, some other options.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on too, man. Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, one thing though, before we go, I want to throw a question in there that we can talk about throughout. But Carrington event, like solar, completely worthless if that happens. So just a thought, as we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's going to be useless. I mean, wouldn't your generator be useless too?
Yeah.
There's ways.
The Carrington event, I'm assuming like coronal mass ejection type thing, like wipes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like big deal.
Massive EMP or whatever.
EMP. Yeah.
Alien attack.
Let's hope.
I mean,
hey, we got the bingo. We got the bingo card, right? Alien invasion moved from 2025 bingo card to 2023, 2024.
Well,
nice.
A guy that I know on MeWe, we've been brainstorming a solar way to collect solar energy that doesn't require any panels, and you could go to the junkyard and put it together. In fact, I've got a little diagram if you want to see it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Let's share my screen. Present. Share screen. Let's find that thing. Where is it? I got too much open. Window. There it is. Okay. All right. So it's using either aluminum foil or mylar blanket to make this kind of a solar trough collector you see on the upper left corner.
What? Okay.
All right. So you put water in this center pipe that's in this collector, right? You got sun coming in, it's heating up the water in this pipe. That converts that into steam. Steam comes out of there and it goes into a 2-cycle old weed eater engine. It can be, it doesn't, the weed eater doesn't even have to be running. It can, as long as it, like the piston rings are intact. So the steam pushes that piston up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Spins a belt, spins an alternator, and you're charging 12-volt battery.
Has this been tried?
This has been tried. I found a guy on YouTube, one guy who's doing it. He said the efficiency is pretty darn low, but he had some ideas about how to improve it. I just have not followed up on it.
Okay.
But yeah, he had the sucker spinning and generating a little bit of electricity.
That's wild.
How's it get hot enough to be able to generate steam? You would think
It's that parabolic.
It's that parabolic collector there. So those things can just get up to like 1,000 degrees or something. Yeah.
Sort of like having hot water heater hoses up on your roof, right?
Yeah, or you could on the ground. It wouldn't need them on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the idea, because I have this long commute, right? And I go into the office hour and a half, and I've got time to just sort of think about questions like that. And I ask myself, all right, I've got my solar, but what if my neighbor loses power and we're all lost power, and I've got solar and he doesn't? What can I do that would help them? And I just started thinking about that situation. So
that's when you lock and load, right?
Well, it's easier to feed your neighbor than to shoot him. So
I don't know. Yeah. One bullet. Can of beans. I don't know. Maybe give him one can of beans, and if he comes asking again, he's gonna get that bullet.
Yeah. What's Jack Sprinkle said? He says you're gonna get rice and beans. I'm gonna get duck eggs and
steak. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So a couple of here, I when building my house, I got bad information, and so I am 100% tied to the grid, all electric, all my appliances, water heater, stove, all of it is electric. I have no gas to the house. We don't have
heat?
Electric heat
in Montana.
Yeah, I bet if I turned off my hot tub, it would it would be a little cheaper. But my bill is not that bad. I should put one of those readings on the hot tub just to see how much that thing is costing me per month, and then I'd probably put a hole in it and send it down the hill. But anyways, it's not that much. Anyways, so well, if I wanted anything gas here, like propane or whatever, I'd have to have one of those 320-gallon tanks out front, and then I'd have to still have a guy come in. I guess I could learn how to do it myself. That wouldn't be that big a deal probably until everyone gets killed. But then I would just need all new appliances to be able to cook or have hot water, or I don't know if there's much you can do about heat. If you're not I don't have central air. I have all the heaters are in the walls. I don't have a central system. So that couldn't be gas either, because there isn't one at all.
Yeah. What do you do in the summertime?
We have ceiling fans, and we have one unit in the main living area so it's those. It's called a PTAC, you know those systems that you see underneath underneath windows in hotel rooms that does both hot and cold? It's that.
Yeah.
I have one
Okay.
for the entire house.
Hmm.
I could do like mini split, but those are that's funny long story. Speaking of batteries, I should have charged my phone.
Whoops.
I could do a mini split. Oh, now he's gone again. I
It
could
was
have
a
done a mini split,
10%.
but I talked to another guy. Like I interviewed him. He's an HVAC, and he's like, "Yeah, those mini splits, like they're really not that great a deal. You know, those window units that like you know old school ones. I mean, they look nicer now than they did even just 10 years ago. But for like $500, you could buy a
they're
new
good
one
value.
every year.
Yeah, they're
Like
real good value.
versus the longevity of those mini splits.
Right.
But then what do you run them it? What do you run it off of? Electricity. I don't think they make a gas powered.
Yeah, and they're higher
Mini
in
split.
wattage. You don't get the mini split does have really good efficiency.
Sure, that's true. Another couple things that I found while digging. Oh, long story, you there?
Yeah, they make a. Can you hear me okay or no?
Yep, now I can.
Yeah, they make a solar mini split, but it's like when I was looking at them a few years ago, they're like $6,000 a piece, and I mean they were like more than double of just a
Whoa.
regular mini split.
Holy
Goodness
crap!
gracious!
Yeah, you just do it like I'm doing. I've got a hybrid inverter in our mini split. It should work. I've yet to wire it, but all the specs are there.
You could hack it together.
I got a long commute. I'll figure out a way.
The couple of things that I found here. So like everyone knows like Solo Stove. Well, I found this one for like another $30. It has a better output than Solo Stove.
Okay.
So it's not really for heat. It's more for cooking and like charging USB devices. But I don't know. Looked neat. Might pick one up for fun later on. But and the other thing that I've heard a lot about is this water lily product where like you throw it in a river or a stream or irrigation ditch or something, and you can charge
Water
stuff
lily.
off of it. But they're like almost all sold out all the time. So like I checked a couple days ago, all sold out. But the concept is there. Throw something in the river, charge stuff.
I wonder how they do that without a head. Because don't you usually have to have a strong head for a waterfall for your generators?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Check Langston's Alternative Power. The guy I was talking about, Spencer, out there. He's got hydro, wind, and solar stuff. It's pretty cool, man. I mean, I don't know. Good dude. But
is it a LangstonAlternativePower.com? Okay.
Yep.
All right, I will present again. Here we go. Share. Midnight Solar, Schneider Electric, inverter charger, hydro generator. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It probably needs some head, but it says low head, so 6 inches.
Nice.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, he's just good old Southern boy doing this little thing, and he's got some of the salvage. When the solar farms get hit by a hailstorm, they replace all the panels. So they'll dump all the rest of them on the ones that weren't destroyed. They'll dump them on the salvage market, and you can get them for a lot cheaper that way. And he carries some of those too. If anyone's interested in that.
Oh, nice.
A little bit cheaper than new. But
is that in the solar power kit?
I don't know. I don't know how he. stuff. I've just bought components from. I've never bought a kit. I don't know.
Sure. All right. Nice. Neat.
I mean, we were talking about wind. I was just trying to mention the wind and the hydro because we were off of solar, right? Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to drag us back over there.
No. That's fine. That's fine.
Can I throw something out there real quick? So like one of the things that's super interesting to me about all this stuff, like imagine like Carrington event or whatever, but a lot of the stuff that we're accustomed to right now, like you were saying with propane, you're going to have like you need fuel, diesel generator, need fuel, whatever. And I have a friend who has an old plantation home, and that house, because of the way that it's built, handles hot and cold outside temperatures extremely well. I mean, it is a very constant temperature throughout the year. I mean, even like in the summer, it won't get up above about 77 or 78. In the winter, it's not that bad to heat, and it's more about the thermal aspect of the airflow than it is about anything else. They had these tall windows. They would open the bottom. Let's see how they do it. They open the top and they open the top when it's hot, the bottom when it's cold. I can't remember, something like that. But it's also got like the stairwell basically is a thermal. What do you call that? Anyway, it's designed to vent out the top of the house, the hot air and stuff. So it's just really interesting. The way that people figure out how to design buildings to provide, to minimize the need for energy. You follow what I'm trying to say? Like before.
Yeah, they have all these features to increase efficiency, and so your inputs are less.
Yeah, I'm not.
No,
saying
I love that stuff. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I like that's I'm really big into like alternative buildings, even though I didn't build one myself. If we were to build again, and someday we might, but I would definitely do it like 100% different. There probably wouldn't be a 2x4 in this place.
Yeah.
And Matt, you've been to Paul Wheaton's place. Was he doing anything underground at his place? I know he's talked about it.
He did like the Mike Ayler $500 underground house thing.
Yeah,
he was in the process of building that. He's in the process. Everything there is in the process. Nothing's finished. It looked cool though.
Yeah.
And the way they kind of like built what would be like the trusses, kind of more like rafters, but the way they did that was pretty cool. And they do round timber framing for everything.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was a round timber framing project, right? I thought so. Yeah.
Yep. They did that. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. When I was there, they didn't do any of like their underground. So like that one's really like, it's really above ground. They just mounted a bunch of dirt on top of it. That's kind of how it went, or like kind of like semi in the ground, and then the dirt came over the top for like the thermal mass and stuff.
Is that the one where they use like the billboard vinyl as a membrane or something like that?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That goes on top of the logs under the dirt.
It's just brilliant the way they've come together with those ideas.
Yeah.
You got the dirt protecting the plastic from UV rays, and you got the wood you can source from on site, and the dirt. There's ways to make it that are not damp and too cold. And it's just really cool to look at.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. What was something else I had? Oh, have you guys ever looked into doing like biofuel?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just looking into that last week.
Yeah. What does it take? It seems like it takes a lot of work.
Yes, it would take a lot of work. My concern was whether my car could run it. I've got a 2006 Toyota Sienna. The newer there's a generation of cars. You remember seeing flex fuel cars and E85?
Oh yeah.
So those could run on pure alcohol that you make at home, but these like mine can only run 15%. I was doing some reading and researching, and found out that means that it can tolerate alcohol in the fuel lines, so it won't deteriorate. So the fuel lines are good. The only trick is to change the firing timing of the injectors. And then I found a kit for $700. It's a plug and play, like 3-hour plug and play. And so I said, all right, so that's 2 pieces figured out. The only other piece is the alcohol, and you can just go out and collect. Like we have a lot of sugar cane we could grow here, or carby anything, corn or anything with a lot of carbs, and can be
So you're talking
not
like,
easily, but can be converted into alcohol, and not
so you're talking
easy.
alcohol? I
Yeah.
thought we were talking about like a bioreactor to make methane.
That's another thing. Yeah. But
I think there's multiple.
Yeah,
versions. There are like little other flavors.
And then wood. What about wood gas? You guys looked at wood gas at all?
Yep. That's
Looked at
another
that last
interesting.
week. Yeah.
Now the wood gas is also picky about the car it'll work with. Like I was looking at it for a truck, and they said, oh, that's got a plastic air intake. So if you think about it, that wood gas is coming out very hot, and it goes into a plastic air manifold that'll melt that sucker. So
didn't they make one on Top Gear?
Did they?
I think they made one that ran off of made a car that ran off of wood on Top Gear.
Yeah. If you can find the car that has the the right intake, fuel injectors are really easy. They said, but carbureted not so easy. Or is it the other way around?
For me, running a generator or a small tractor with wood gas would be like, that would be freaking awesome. Other than that, I mean, I don't really, I don't need to drive my truck across the country with a wood gas. I mean, I know I saw a thing about a guy that did, but if I could just run like a generator on wood gas or because I have acres and acres of deciduous hardwoods here. I could burn wood chips all day long, man. But you got to have something. You have to have something to run the chipper. So you need a wood gas tractor with a PTO to run the chipper, so you can keep your wood chips coming, and then you can run a generator or something. I don't know.
I had pulled up a article for tonight from Mother Earth News. I know. Backyard wood powered generator.
That used to be pretty good.
So there's this whole article on how they built a wood powered generator, and like the parts that they scavenged together and how they built it. Like the thing's actually like of decent size. There's a picture of it. Let's see if I can pull it up. And you guys go ahead and chime in with.
They were using these in World War II, man.
Yeah, they were
in German occupied areas. So pretty cool.
Matt is totally frozen.
Yeah,
because my internet's a piece of.
Scott, we're not letting you talk, man. I'm sorry. I feel like talk too much here.
Well, you got into the areas that I don't know that much about, biogas and all that. We had some guy that tried to do biogas here recently, and just got like just fermented and nasty.
Oh yeah.
How so? How did that happen?
He tried to put the stuff in an IBC tote outside, and then it got nasty. So I think it was mostly he was trying to do like the equivalent of vegetable oil or something, right?
I think it was Grant.
It was Grant. Yeah,
if you said IBC tote.
Grant's got a few IBC totes ready to, get available.
Of course.
He's got Minecraft. He's got a Minecraft over there made out of IBC totes.
You should just build a house for him and his girlfriend, now like wife, out of IBC totes.
Mother of his child.
They
like seriously, he's gonna end up eloping the way he is, man. For real. He's just like so freaking. Wouldn't even surprise me.
Oh, other random thing I found. Man, can I bring this up? Is this synced up? Maybe not. I hope so. This would be funny. Shoot. Nope, I am not ready to share this. There's something called airburners.com. And for starting at $900,000, you can buy a 100 kilowatt firebox, which like it turns let's see if I can pull up this piece of
100
garbage.
kilowatt. Good golly.
It's like for like a whole like city or whatever.
Just for your neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airburners.com. It's like a all-in-one system where like instead of like having to chop down the they make a couple different models. All right, let me share this. Let me share this really quick. This is cool. I only looked at the one.
I saw these on a forum for some guys that wanted to use them to power Bitcoin miners. That's
Hell yeah. All right, products. So this is the one I saw was the big one here, this PG Firebox. That's the one that is like it's like massive sucker. And then I guess they get like smaller in size. Something about like you can put in just the raw material and it chops it all up, burns it, and you get electricity out or something. I don't know. You'd have to look it up. But the Burn Boss.
The Burn Boss.
How much is the Burn Boss? Let's see.
Out of our price ranges.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, out of our reach.
$78,000. It's on a trailer though, so you can move it around. Look at this little guy. That guy can't be that much, right? The trench
55.
burner.
Yeah, only 55.
Oh, you're looking at it already?
No, I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing out numbers.
60.
The trench burners.
This is the price is right. We got to get the closest number.
Yeah, trench burners. Some of those are just for like incinerating trash and debris. So it's interesting if they're using it to also generate electricity. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I talked to some guys in a Bitcoin forum. They were like, "Yeah, dude, we could set this thing up." And one guy was asking like, "Well, I'm in this area. I've got all these pines. I'm just gonna cut them now, and then I'll just burn them as I need them." And I'm like, he wasn't familiar with the South and the humidity. I'm like, dude, those things will be powder in 3 years. You won't be able to find them in 3 years. They'll be completely disintegrated. You know.
Sure.
So everything
wasn't seeing an output here. Like how much energy it.
The trench burner might be the incineration thing and not the energy thing. That's what I was trying to say. I think that's what you're looking at.
I see. Huh. All right then. Well, it's not very cool anymore.
Well, I think there are some that anyway, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but
I don't know either. I just saw like this great big green machine that was $900,000, and I was like, "Hey, look at that! That's weird." Maybe I'll buy one for the neighborhood if I ever win the lottery.
I bumped into a guy at the at a gas station here a couple years ago, not long after we got back from Chile, and he handed me a handful of wood pellets, and he's like speaking with this really heavy European accent, and he's like, buy land with trees, like whatever. I can't do his accent. But anyway, he's like telling me you should buy land with trees because Europeans are going to have to make all their electricity from wood pellets in the future. We don't have them. We don't have enough forest there. We're going to come here and buy all your pine trees, basically. And and I was thinking like, He's like, we will come and get like after the timber company comes and takes the trees, we'll come pick up all the other stuff because it doesn't matter. We just need the combustible material. It doesn't matter. We're going to turn to pellets anyway. And I thought it was pretty interesting, as a power source for commercial or industrial scale electrical generation. Kind of interesting, I don't know what happened to it. I haven't seen any more about it, but that was what he was saying.
People were burning trash to not freeze to death in Europe, so there's that.
Well, if you get a rocket stove, you actually can.
I heard they're cracked up to be.
Rocket stove. It depends on.
Sorry, I'm thinking of rocket mass heater. Sorry, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, okay. No, the rocket stove is. There's a lot of people who do them badly. They'll make them out of concrete bricks, and when you're doing that, you're warming up the bricks instead of trying to heat your food. So
the mass,
yeah. There's a company who there's a nonprofit called I can never pronounce it, Projevo or something. They have been doing this kind of research for like 30 years, and they've got a really solid design. They tell you about insulating the column, and you've specific dimensions and whatever. So
But when I hear people that have done them poorly, my understanding is that they're very smoky and they don't
Yeah.
draft at all because they haven't designed that part well, so it doesn't draft, and that's the issue.
Sure.
But
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I think mass, thermal mass is important. I mean, it's like, solar gain, having thermal mass and solar gain, those would be two ways you could heat your house and cool your house. Just passive solar design in a situation where, in a low energy future, I'll just call it, whatever that ends up, being. But if you have a trellis with vines that dies back in the winter and grows in the summer, and you've got a roof line with a certain angle, you can have in the window you can have a thermal mass of stone, whatever. You could really to what we were talking about these old plantation homes down here. You could create a situation where you generate a lot of heat that can be dissipated overnight and in the winter, but during the summer when the sun is higher, you wouldn't have that solar gain. Those are all very feasible ways to manage that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. You guys want to wrap up on something we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
I've got one, but I'll wait and see if Scott's got one.
Nope, don't have anything else.
Yeah, the only thing is I wanted to talk about is I bought some years ago, about 15 years ago, is real cheap on Craigslist a solar water heater preheater, and it heats the water going into the water heater, so that the water, so the heater, the true water heater, has to do less work.
Sure.
And it's really simple design. It's really cool. I don't know how well it would work in outside of Florida, but it's got a low pressure panels. The water goes. There's a tank. You set up like a hot tub, and you make it out of foam and plywood. The water comes out, goes up into the collector, goes back down, goes up. It just does this circulation. And then your street water, the water that comes from the street, goes through that tank in a coil as a heat exchanger. But those two waters never touch. So you've got the outside water getting warm, and it's going up and down in the collector, up and down all day long. And then you get the street water going through that coil, and then out into your water heater. And so it's called a drain back design. And the beauty of it is when it freezes, and we do have freezes occasionally, when it freezes and your power dies, it drains back into the big hot tub and nothing bursts, no pipes are burst. So pretty clever design.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to see like a diagram because that's kind of hard to follow for me to.
I'll draw you a diagram and shoot it to you.
I have a book on solar projects that has a diagram of one of those as well.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
I like
Nice.
Ben Falke. He was experimenting with running the water through a pile of compost.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Or Gene Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked on a ranch that tried to do that, but they just did wood. They just did wood chips and they got the wood chips wet, but there wasn't they're like, oh, weird, this doesn't work. And then now having like done my own kind of like experiments, like that's because you didn't have like the carbon, the nitrogen, and the whatever. I can't remember. I can never remember the third ones. It's just browns, greens, and so you needed all the parts and they only had like one part, and that's why it didn't work.
Yeah. The thing I wanted to mention is like I think Scott was right on at the beginning with what problem we're trying to solve, and I think most often people get screwed up because they have the wrong problem statement. So if we're trying to figure out how to be comfortable, how to stay healthy, all those kind of things, we don't have to have the flip a switch and the light comes on kind of solution. We can manage with better designed homes. We can manage with leveraging solar better, like with heating water or solar gain in the winter and passive solar, passive solar design homes, so solar gain in the winter and no solar gain in the summer, that kind of stuff. There's just so many things that our ancestors knew instinctively, practically, and we've lost that knowledge, but it's not that far away. It still can be reclaimed. And hand power, like I have a couple of old bikes I refuse to let my wife throw away, because I figure I can go pull the alternator off the car and we can set it up, and I can have a kid powered battery charger. Lots of ways I think we can live well without having the grid. It's convenient, but we don't have to have it. We can manage.
Sure. Nice. That was a good wrap up summary to the whole discussion. I like that. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Good stuff.
All right, Christopher, plug your stuff.
Yeah, so I am working on, and now we're in beta testing for a device that opens and closes the coop door on your chicken coop and sends you notifications if there's issues. The hard part's been working on the software, the phone app, just banging my head against the wall, but we'll get there. But the idea is that when there is an issue, it'll give you a notification, let you know, hey, there's some problem. And after I conquer the coop, the idea is to take that same platform and expand out to all sorts of areas in the backyard, in the small agricultural space. So to keep an eye on things, to let you feel more safe. It's called Secure Farm. So you go up to the website, securecoop.com, and there I have the pre-sale going, and you get the coupon. FarmHopLife rocks.
Forgot the banner.
Yep, get the coupon. I've got an ebook on coop protection, 40 ways to protect your coop. Get on the mailing list, and I'll give you updates as far as the progress goes. And I'm hoping to start selling, get out of beta maybe in a few months. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice. Get to it. What are you doing?
Working on solar.
Nice. Thanks.
Yep.
Christopher. Long story.
All right. Well, Long Story Farms. We're at the Old Barn Market on first and third Saturdays through the year round, and we'll start at the Newberry Market in the spring. We're trying to get our website going soon, and pasture raised meats, some eggs, specialty produce, and every now and then I bake some bread. So all about good food. So check us out.
Nice. Thank you. And Scott.
Scott Miller, Thrive in the Future podcast. Positive solutions to help you thrive. It's thriveinthefuture.com and also on your fave podcast app. Throw that out because I know you like that, Matt. Also, I still have some elderberry cuttings and some comfrey at grownutTrees.com. If you use FarmHopLife, you get 10% off.
Oh, hey, cool. I'll have to throw that in the banner for next time.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
grownutTrees.com.
I'll have to throw that in the banner too. Lots to throw in the banner. And I am Matt DeRocher of FarmHopLife. Check us out, farmhoplife.com. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity.